Military strategy is a highly practical philosophy for manipulating human behavior. It provides a specific system for identifying psychological weaknesses, turning negative situations into advantages, and inducing an opponent to defeat themselves. Because of this power, these ideas were historically treated as a dangerous technology. For centuries, texts like Sun Tzu's Art of War were never studied in universities or shared with the public. Kings and rulers jealously hoarded these manuals, reading them only with their closest military advisors. The elites understood that in any stressful environment, most people become emotional and lose control. Strategy offers a stairway above that confusion, providing clarity in the middle of chaos. In the hands of the general public, this level of perspective represented a genuine threat to the established order. It separated those who understood the mechanics of their reality from those who were merely tossed about by it. Today, the arena for these power struggles has shifted from literal battlefields to the hyper-competitive modern workplace. Since modern social rules forbid overt aggression, ambitious individuals now operate like guerrilla warriors. They use sly, passive-aggressive maneuvers and subtle manipulation to advance their own interests at the expense of the group. When we face these subtle attacks, our animal instincts take over. We begin reacting to whatever immediate problem is dropped in front of us, a state of psychological entrapment known as tactical hell. Life in this state is a series of exhausting daily skirmishes. You might respond to an email or defend a position in a meeting, but these reactions are disconnected from any larger purpose. You are busy, but you have no control over where you are going. When fighting harder only leads to more exhaustion, it becomes clear that the current way of reacting isn't working. Breaking the cycle requires a shift in how you perceive conflict itself. 500 years ago, Sun Tzu defined the goal of the strategist: to win with the minimum amount of friction and bloodshed. To him, any victory that required massive loss was a failure of strategy. Most people ignore this, relying instead on fixed formulas and brute advantages. They try to resolve conflicts by throwing more money at a problem, leaning on a job title, or repeating the same arguments that worked for them in the past. This reliance on the predictable was the downfall of the opponents of Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary 17th century samurai. Musashi's rivals were often masters of a single, specialized weapon, or a specific, prestigious style of fighting. These rivals were fighting the last war. They expected every new conflict to match their pre-planned techniques, leaving them vulnerable to anything that didn't fit their training. A rigid formula is a liability in a fluid environment. The moment the situation changes, the person clinging to a fixed plan is the first to be defeated. Musashi abandoned formulas entirely. If an opponent expected him to be late, he arrived early. He would fight a chain and sickle master with 2 swords, or defeat a legendary swordsman using nothing but a carved wooden boat oar and a dirty headband. He molded his mind to the specific reality of the person standing in front of him. He looked past the weapon to find the psychological weakness that would cause the opponent to defeat themselves. In a modern office, the same principle applies. When a rival undermines you, your default emotional response, getting defensive or lashing out, is exactly what they expect. It is a predictable tactical reaction. Strategic detachment allows you to step back and observe the situation objectively. By stripping away your personal ego, you can adapt your response to the exact reality of the moment rather than your feelings. In any conflict, a fluid mind that reacts to reality provides a level of control that money or influence cannot provide. While adaptation helps you survive immediate battles, mastering the larger environment requires a broader focus, grand strategy. The Greeks illustrated this through the goddess Athena. Unlike her brother Ares, who represented the impulsive violence of the battlefield, Athena was the goddess of detached, calculating intellect. She won by being smarter. Her symbol was the owl, representing a unique vision. An owl sits on a high branch, turning its head in all directions, seeing further past the immediate fight below. Grand strategy is the discipline of stepping away from the immediate fight to analyze the broader social and political ecosystem. It means looking at history, culture, and the long-term consequences of every move. Tactical fighters might win individual skirmishes, but they exhaust themselves in the process. Only the grand strategist possesses the vision to win the entire campaign. Alexander the Great used this heightened perspective when he invaded Persia. He faced a massive empire with an army of 750,000 men, while leading a force of only 40,000. Alexander didn't rush into a physical battle he was destined to lose. Instead, he spent years systematically conquering the political and cultural environment around the Persian army, winning over cities and undermining the empire's foundation. By the time the two armies finally met, Alexander had already dismantled the Persian economy and social support. The actual battle was a mere formality. He had won before the fighting started. This is your final takeaway. Before your next project launch or career conflict, you must stop. Step back from the immediate problem and literally tear up your reactive plan. Force your perspective outward. Analyze the social dynamics of your company, the cultural environment of the industry, and the exact way your opponent perceives you. By detaching from animal emotions and widening your perspective, you leave the tactical trap behind. You see the solution clearly, allowing you to win the war before the first shot is ever fired.